Welcome to the InStory show. I'm Devorah Spilman, your host. Our theme this season is what does it mean to expand into a new story? And how do you stop hiding your spiritual gifts and dare to be seen for who you really are by saying yes to your soul and telling your story? So today I am thrilled to welcome InStory expert Cora Fontana. Hi, Cora.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It is a pleasure. I'm going to read about you and then we'll dive in. Cora is dedicated to guiding people to the world within their hearts, creating bridges for evolution and expanded consciousness. Known for her empathy, curiosity, and sense of humor, she connects with individuals from all walks of life, fostering harmony and encouraging fresh perspectives. Drawing on a wealth of real world experiences, Cora helps others explore the hidden aspects of reality, facilitating journeys into the inner child and expansive spiritual realms. Blending practical advice with mystical insights, she supports individuals in reconnecting with their body's wisdom and reestablishing trust on their soul's journey, all while promoting a deeper connection to their spiritual path and a more meaningful life for all. I just love that so much. All right. So I'm asking everybody to start with telling us what does expanding into a new story mean to you?
Hmm. Wow. I mean, expansion sounds like a great idea. In reality, it takes one needs to face their fears to a certain degree, right? I mean, in order to expand, you have to take the step, to go out into the unknown, do something that may be very scary. Maybe it's exhilarating in the beginning and just easy and free flowing. It could be that, but it also could be something that um, gives you pause and it's on the other side and it feels like unattainable. So there may be something, that one would need to give themselves permission to go after or need support, whether that's in the physical world or in the unseen realm, to have support to expand into that. So yeah, it means so many things, but I guess that is
But you know what? I'm so happy that you said that because a lot of times we don't talk about that. The courage it takes, the fact that you've got to sort of face your old story. Like even when I was leading something about it, I was like, oh, I have to actually feel what's my old story, what's my constricted, stuck story in order to come out of it. And you're completely right. Like sometimes expanding into a new story takes tremendous courage and it's not something we do alone. I think you're very wise to speak into that. And as it is sometimes an illusion if we think that it's all expansion and it's all fun and we're all going to just blah, 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 blah. And it's like, like it has a lot of dimensions. I think that's an important piece of it. And it's certainly part of your story. So I would love for you to tell us, like, we were talking before we started, like you have a few aspects of turning point stories. One of the is the one you're in at this moment, but I think you might have to start us back a little bit with your sort of your journey with InStory and where that led you, and a little bit of eventually the turning point story that you're actually in right now.
okay, so rewind a little bit, which actually that fits into this theme and expanding into a new story. I was in a corporate job and just in general not happy with that. And I wanted something different. And I have, friends and I had a spiritual practice that was part of, my life that I actually, um, was in different groups, a lot of different global groups since COVID. I think especially that really amped up and there was a lot more people online. So I was doing a lot of really interesting group work and exploring different pathways. And it was, fun and exhilarating and exciting, but I didn't feel as connected per se. and they were international, and I love that. But there just was something, I don't know. I wanted it closer to home. It felt like I wanted it to be a little bit more personal. Even I had done one-on-one work with people as well, but there was just something else. There was something calling. There was definitely a calling, and how things usually are. It's like, how did it even happen? You know, and you go back like, I'm not really sure, but it's like something lands in your inbox, which I'm sure all of our inboxes are full of so many things. But why is it that we pay attention to one specific thing? You know, what is it in the midst of all these choices that there's this thing, you know, that grabs attention? And so I did a webinar, and there were multiple speakers. But yeah, I saw you, and I got so drawn in, and I don't, you know, it called to me. And that was a big step. It was a big step to be in, even though it's something, once again, like I wanted to expand, but now it's like, oh snap. You know, like now I'm going to be in this smaller, intimate group, and I have to show up, and I am going to be seen more. And there's a little bit of that. I think with the expansion, there's a contraction. It's a normal part of, you know, an out breath. We need an in breath. That sometimes the messiness and the scary elements come, that is necessary to sit with and just be with it and not run away from it. And then eventually it can transform and turn into something, and we can use that energy, which is what happened. And slowly with the group, I think I got the courage. It's such a beautiful container. So I had the courage to express myself, parts of myself that I really had never done with anyone. I mean, I'm over 50. How is it that I've had, you know, 50 years of life, over 50 years of life, and hadn't expressed, you know, parts of myself? It's crazy. And the love and the acceptance and the mirroring, and um the encouragement, and I think, you know, from you direct, and everyone too, you know, some just directions or guidance or insights, and not forced. You know, it's different when you're in a group and everybody's trying to give you advice or something like that. That is not how the environment is whatsoever. It's not like, I don't need to be fixed, thank you. I don't need everybody to tell me how to do A, B, and C. It's not like that. You know, it's just a freeness of being able to show up, share myself, share something, and then get kind of loving um, feedback, if that's what I so wanted, you know, if, or just to be with me while I'm expressing it. There isn't a need. I don't need anything, just to be with women that are present to me, and they're deeply listening, and I'm really being seen. And there's something about that, that's an alchemy that happens, you know, that gave me, I don't know, you know, it was, then it helped me to tap into some confidence, and express then in a more public way things that I hadn't done before. And
Yep.
you know, and I love how you say it's like friends or family. I'm not trying to um talk to people that maybe are not interested in these things, you know, and you just want, like, you know, knowing the audience. So it's like, oh, this is kind of my audience. These are people that actually are interested in wanting to hear more. And I
Right.
have these gifts that I don't believe were really valued, and I hadn't not really put them out there before in this
Right.
certain way. And so yeah, and so the first InStory, I did a recording. I had these amazing magical experiences in nature, going to my, what I call my magic river. Um, just it's just so much peace, and uh they just fill me up. And I thought, oh, it'd be so nice to share that. I wish other people could experience this joy that I feel when I'm out, and this connection that I feel in nature. Maybe I could help. And then the second in story, uh I really like, okay, we're gonna turn this up a notch.
For
So
the second
then
in-story show, she's talking about she was this is her third in-story show. So the first one, it was the river meditation, and now, okay, so tell the second one
and
was
there wasn't that much time, I think, because I
right.
kind of came in late.
Came
So
in from the Soul Story course, the
in the soul
8-week
story,
course, and you were like, okay, I'm ready to go. Uh, I
like
mean,
right out the gate.
right. So
Yeah.
that was great. That was a tremendous courage on your part to keep saying yes to this soul calling, like not to keep hiding it, but to keep sharing it. And then it expanded more. So then what was the next thing, right?
Yeah, and so, I had been exploring all these different modalities, and I think that's, I mean, I hear that with everyone, I think, in the group and just in life, when people have these gifts and sensitivities, even if they haven't really tapped into them and they're not like actively doing them, in reflection, most people do say, oh, you know what, I've been doing this since I was 2. Or some people, even in the womb, if they remember that, or, since I was 4 or 7. Or so it's kind of, we do them regardless. Like that is just kind of who we are. It's how we see the world. And we just think that everybody's like that. So it's not a big deal, like what's the big deal? Everybody does that. And I think being in the group, realize, oh, this is something actually quite unique and special and can help. And it's a personal thing and it's subtle. Like someone else may have a similar gift, but their particular way of seeing it is a special kind of medicine. It's a personal medicine, and all the medicines are are medicines. There's no hierarchy in medicine. Like it's not like this medicine's better than that one. It's like whatever's needed is 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 the medicine that would be called for, and it may or may not, work. Um, so it's like there's this equalizing,
Mhm,
which is, one of the reasons I wasn't satisfied in the corporate world is because of the intense hierarchy
mhm,
with things, that it's like, because I really truly, that's on my value, is that we are all valuable equally and that there isn't this hierarchy, right? And so, okay, I digress a little bit. So I decided, I'm enjoying tarot, and I have a very um easy connection with it, and my way of utilizing it is very Jungian, or like more of a like a psychology, like a spiritual psychology way approach to it that isn't very like futuristic. It's more of like sitting with someone and helping them see inside of themselves, their psyche. And in a way, like I feel like I've had that since I was younger. So there was
mhm.
this then tool that I could utilize then to be with other people, to be able to help, maybe help them see or feel into things that they may or may not have easy accessibility to.
Right.
And
I
doing that in
remember
a
that.
positive way was terrifying. Terrified, terrified. And then I do the website. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a website. I'm gonna do the business. Like I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do coaching. I'm gonna do tarot, and I'm gonna name the website after my name and not even go into some pseudo. Which in my career, like that's a huge that is a huge risk to take. But I was very scary, and I went through a lot of processing going through that. That was that, like talking about, the ebb and the flow and the contraction and expansion. I mean, it wasn't like, yay, this is great. It was a lot of like, you know, just what have I done? Or, oh my God, a lot of second guessing and shame, shame comes up. Like, who do I think I am? I'm not good enough. Or I thought I didn't care what people think, but you know what? what if they do find out, or how are they gonna?
You mean you were worried about the corporate world, and here you are saying I do tarot and spiritual coaching, and like that's not like exactly what you were doing in the corporate world, right? Like
And I
that's the
work
yeah.
very conservative industries, like very, very conservative.
All right, so fast forward us a little
Yeah.
bit, Cora. So you were brave. You're in InStory. And you did tarot for us as well, and you then launched your website, and you were very brave. So what happened?
Okay, so the plan was, this is great. This is the plan. I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna give myself 6 months to a year to build this business and transition over out of corporate world forever. Um, and there was not that much time. I don't know what the time frame was before I was laid off from my job.
But I assume before 6 months to a year had gone by, right? Like your
I mean,
business wasn't built and ready to sustain you.
it wasn't even a full month, I feel like, it was
Right.
like,
It was
I
really
mean, it was
fast. Yeah.
like right after the show, right after, I mean, it wasn't that shortly. I mean, now time has become this whole, I don't know, things are all morphed into something, but yeah, it was, then time seemed to really, speed up and slow down. But yeah, it was like, okay, that, completely, which I felt very led. That's the thing. It's like I felt very led to do that. My inner guidance was showing me and telling me, and I felt into all of it. And then I felt very free. That I really did realize that with my friends or family and even coworkers that I wasn't in hiding anymore. I really like I was emancipated. So in a way, I feel like if that is what it was for, if it was
Mhm.
me just to truly be like emancipated, coming out of the closet, just being like, I'm not gonna dumb down at all for anybody. Not that I don't need to lead with it. I don't need to, force it on people. I don't have to make it all about who I am when I meet people that are not interested in those things. But I am not going to cower. I'm not going to cover it up. I'm not going to sidestep it. I can just, it doesn't have to be a huge focal point, but I'm not going to do that anymore. So that just, I think now in retrospect, that that is huge value. But
Mhm.
yeah, so here I am, I get laid off, and um I mean, it was, a great gift to happen, because who knows how long I would have stayed. It was well paying and so forth. So, you know, I was not happy, but obviously not miserable enough to leave. And then this happened. So I'm like trying to get, oh, this is going to be my chance to really break into different industries that are more healing modalities. I tried things that were non traditional, I tried so many things, and just doors were not opening. And I was getting very creative. I mean, I was willing to even to do like, odd jobs for cash kind of thing. I mean, I really was kind of like, I will literally be open to, this is my chance to recreate myself. I'm going to reinvent myself and do this and do my spiritual business. Hooked up with some local people that were in more spiritual practices, but everything literally just was not, it was not cool. Like it wasn't sticking. Nothing was working. And, the clock was ticking. I had, bills to pay and a mortgage and payments of this, that, and the other thing. And I spent a lot of time at that river that I did. It was like, okay, I would do all the things because I'm very organized. I was like a project manager. I do all the footwork, right? And I think it's important. Like we live in the world, we need to do those things. I do all the things. I understand what my finances are. I understand, I have my resume updated. I have interviews with, career coaches and with whatever they call them, just I'm doing all the things to get the job. And then there gets to a point where, you know, I'm also doing my meditation. I'm also doing my prayers. I'm surrendering continuously. I mean, multiple, all through the day, a lot of times was like, let me be guided, but doing also the practical real world things. And then at some point I'm like, okay, I'm not going to sit in front of my computer and stress out for the rest of the day. I'm going to go to the river. I'm going to go take a walk in nature. I'm going to commune with the trees and feel the wind and look at the sky and the sun. Those things were essential.
Mhm.
Essential. I kept my nervous system calm. Then I was able to keep those channels of open, and that surrendering and the trusting that everything is going to work out. Everything will work out in the end, and it is being done for my highest good. I don't understand any of this. One thing to say it, and here I am in the midst of complete chaos. I mean, my life was completely turned upside down, inside out. So all these things that we say, oh, it's working out for my highest good, and da, da, da. It's one thing when your life is pretty much settled, or maybe there's one area that's chaotic. This was like multiple things of just felt like 360 chaos.
I mean, that's what's impressed me because we've been connected through this whole thing. So, see if you can laser focus in on the call to go back to your hometown and what happened with that. Because the thing that's impressed me through all of this is that you listened to things that didn't seem logical but were clearly true, and like how you did that. So, take us kind of to the kind of the concrete things that you said yes to
Yeah.
because and it's led you to where you are now.
Well, it's like it is that kind of expansion, contraction again, and that joy and the sorrow, that duality that we've up until now have experienced on this plane of earth. Um, but my best friend, I'm originally from Detroit, Metro Detroit area in Michigan, and my best friend from third grade moved out to California in the southern part, and I lived in the northern part. And she had passed from a journey with cancer for 15 years. And that was, she passed. I went and to be with her. They had told me I was going to get laid off. And then my friend passed. It is like everything, all the things happen all at once. It was like that kind of thing. There's so many things being thrown at me. It wasn't just losing my job. And we had always talked about going back to Michigan, but I always said, "You go, and then I'll go." She did. She never went. We never went. And our good friends from childhood showed up, and we were all there for a service. And something happened that just made me feel called to go back home to be with people that would have my back and that were emotionally supportive, and that there's something, even though I loved the area that I'm at, it's so beautiful. And I literally fell in love with that land. And I felt it was reciprocal. Like I felt
In
like,
California where you had been, where you were. Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
like it wasn't that and because I had not liked it for so long. And then it was interesting because it was almost like I finally fell in love with it, and I was feeling it back. Uh, then it was like, well, why am I, it's not time to go. I love it here. But I did feel a strong calling. And it was like, no, I don't even know where it came from. Cause like, even me, I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. And it was like, what if it's the wrong choice? What if I regret it? It's not most people, the stories we all hear in the songs and the novels is, everybody goes to California, sunny California, enlightened California. And it's true. I did it. Most people don't go to freaking Metro Detroit for expansion. It's just usually not on the songs. You know what I mean? Like, so I thought this is crazy, but it's funny how because people, my family and friends are so used to me doing things that are counter everything that they're not surprised. I mean, I don't really shock or surprise them anymore. They don't. So, and they don't even oppose me too much, but usually, I know that they, wonder or disagree with my choices because they're so not conventional. Uh, but it was funny how everything rallied around that decision. It took me a long time to do it. And it was like once I made it, like the forces of the universe felt like they organized around it. And I mean, people, places, resources, energy. It was, I mean, even people that are sort of like non-believers in any of these kind of things started to say things like, use that kind of terms. Like I was like, this is divinely orchestrated. Like something is happening here that just is so much bigger than, you know, I don't even understand it. And it was funny because people that were seeing it were just witnessing these kind of miraculous things happen. If there's an obstacle, I wouldn't worry though. I didn't, there was a lot of obstacles. There was a lot of things that came up that made me wonder, am I being detoured? Like, is this for me to say like that wasn't a good choice? Maybe I should not do that. But I just once again just kept just my whole job I said to me at that time, even though I didn't have a job, wasn't employed, was to um calm my nervous system.
Mhm.
If I could calm my nervous system, the mind, the body, everything would follow. And then that way I could be clear enough to get guidance, to hear, to be still, which, to be still and with all these things going on, usually you want to get busy or you feel like, oh, we shouldn't be just sitting around doing nothing. We should be freaking out and trying to do all the things. And I would at times when it felt called for, but that was only after, having the quietness and then yeah, and then being able I pull tarot for myself every day. So I'm always pulling the cards and sometimes we don't want to hear what it has to say, right? Like we want to hear what we want to hear sometimes, right?
I think this is where I want you to take us because we're not going to have enough time for you to tell us the all the details of how everything unfolded. And I think and they can find once you get Cora's free gift, she's gonna tell you what it is, you'll be able to connect with her and you can write out and make a video and tell all the rest. We'll kind of leave them on a little bit of suspense of how all of this worked out. Because just like she does live in Detroit and she does have a job. But if you want to hear the whole story of how that happened, you're gonna have to get her free gift and ask her. Because I want you to tell us a little bit more about this pulling of tarot, the calming of the nervous system. I think this is such a crucial message because Cora's still in InStory. She's still doing her spiritual work. She's still doing tarot and she's in Detroit with a new job and a new house. And she made all of that happen without losing this core value, which is in fact probably why it all happened. But I would love for you to say a little bit more about just the power of tarot and the free gift that they're going to get and how this is a piece of this calming of the nervous system, which I think is a really powerful way of talking about a lot of things that are really crucial. So just kind of take us into what is your free gift and why has it helped you so much and why you think it will help them so much.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much out there and there's uh different approaches. There's a lot of different approaches. I mean, there's so much material and books and like with everything, I think there's so much for me that I almost get overwhelmed and just, it's like almost too much. So I made a short video just that even just okay, what's the history or even what's the anatomy of these things? A lot of people, not a lot,
Of
but
tarot, like of tarot
oh,
itself.
yeah, it's like,
Yeah,
is it or there's an oracle deck. What's the difference? What makes it tarot? I mean, let's just like start with the basics. And then from there, just explain that and then explain my approach. And then I do kind of an just pull a card, um, a couple cards for people into one by one for people to just see themselves because what I believe that my um, way is to have other people tap into their knowing, their seeing, so that I'm not giving them something that they can't access themselves. So to
right.
me, like I want someone to look at the cards themselves too. What do you see? What do you feel? What is it taught? It's talking to you. It's saying
Wow.
something to you. So to me, it's a conversation that I'm helping to facilitate. Like I'm a facilitator. Of course, I'm going to have, because of my personal experience and what I have, I'm obviously going to bring that to the table that, is unique to me to be able to guide this uh, um, interaction, at the same time, I really, really stress that it's the person getting the reading is powerful.
Right.
And they're the ones also that are, I want them to know that they trust to tap into their intuition. And what are they seeing in the cards?
Right.
So
It's like
that
you're giving
combined,
people access to their own higher guidance, and
yeah.
you do it so powerfully and beautifully. I've been the recipient of seeing this in action. And so when you get Cora's free gift, you're gonna get something that's gonna awaken you to tarot if you don't already know about it. And then you're gonna get to follow up with her if you want to experience her doing a reading for you in any way. And we'll work together to make sure you get the rest of the story. So grab the free gift, tap into the power of tarot. It is part of this calming the nervous system, part of this focusing. And this is part of the goal of InStory of this whole summit of Cora's work and the whole. How do you function no matter what's happening in the outer world from this place of inner connection? So, all right, Cora, leave us with a couple of last thoughts before we wrap up.
Uh, just just be easy on yourself, go. I think there was a woman she used to always say, I think it was like, she said, go easy, and if you can't go easy, go as easy as you can, or something to that. What I'm like, that is the best. Yeah, just there's a lot going on, and we need to be kind to ourselves. And I don't know if we're always, or pay attention. I guess firstly, just see, are you being kind to yourself? Maybe you don't realize you're maybe not being kind to yourself. Um, because I think we all could use some softening, maybe with others we are, but then with ourselves, not as much. And we may or may not even be aware that, we're driving ourselves maybe too much or something like that. So,
And this is the whole thing of not doing it alone. Like, I
absolutely.
really encourage you, get the free gift, connect with Cora, and don't sit alone and beat yourself up in the spin cycle. We just don't have to do it like that anymore. And I promise you that you will feel this access Cora has to this calming, connected energy that will help you get in alignment. So just take a small step, and then you'll see how you can turn around and help the next person take a small step. So, Cora, thank you, thank you, thank you for just being a model for what's possible in the face of a lot of chaos.
Thank you for, creating this container for all of us.
All right, everybody. And as I always say in farewell, remember to go out in the world, share your story, live your purpose, and be a blessing. Bye, folks.
Bye.